Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video, our season predictions. So there's obviously going to be a lot of controversy coming out of this video and fully expect to get clipped over the next few months or so. And we'll come back to this in a year, holding our heads in shame. But this is going to be our West Ham predictions. We're also going to do our 1 to 20 in Premier League predictions in another video. This is all about West Ham, all about kind of some of the accolades and individual awards and team performances, etc. So first off, top goal scorer. There's a few candidates I would say for this. Who have you guys got as the top goal scorer for West Ham this season?
I'm pretty sure I went for Fulkrug. I'm going to believe in the big man up top. I think it's been a while since we've had a centre forward who can really confidently tuck chances away. We'll create quite a significant amount. We are good at set pieces, and he loves a header. And I think, again, Lopetegui, whilst he wants to play pretty football, will have no issues getting down the wings and putting the ball into the area. So I think Fulkrug is going to get plenty of ammunition. It was a toss-up between him and Bowen, but I've decided to go for the new man, and I'm going to put my faith in him and say that I think he will be our top scorer at the end of the season.
I think mine was the slash between Fulkrug and Bowen.
No slashes, no slashes.
Oh no! But I do
get
think
off that fence. Get off the fence.
Yeah, no fence here today.
I do think that Fulkrug will be a very solid finisher, and I think he will. One thing that he could do is potentially break the West Ham striker curse in the most West Ham way possible by being the antithesis of what we wanted to sign this summer. So yeah. I think his overall ability and as Mike said, his clinical finishing, I think he will easily break double figures, and it will just be, hopefully, there'll be quite a few contenders and it will be a close race, but I can see him just being able to tuck away a few more chances, and his movement being something that, as you mentioned, Somerville, Kudus, Bowen, all being able to put him on the end of.
Who did you have as the slash?
Bowen.
So that's my pick, Bowen. Sticking with it. I think he's going to relish the opportunity of being captain. And I think he's at that age now where he's just in his peak, I would say, 27 years old. And I think last season he was very clinical for us throughout the season. I think now he's gonna have even more opportunities created for him, especially if Paqueta's played centrally. As we saw in the preseason match, he knows exactly how to time his runs. He's going to be playing more as an inside forward, I would say, under Lopetegui as well. So he's probably going to get more chances in and around the box. So yeah, man, Jarrod Bowen, I'm sticking with him for top goal scorer. But next one, most assists. Who's going to be our best creator of the 2024-25 campaign?
I put Mo, just because I think he could cause a bit of havoc. Initially I had Bowen there because I think Bowen will take our set pieces, so corners and so on. But I think if we can get Mo playing maybe a little bit more central, which I think is maybe part of a plan that we want, I think he can cause absolute havoc in that central position and create a lot of opportunities for people.
Stuff.
I think I went for Bowen, didn't I?
You tell me. It's your prediction.
I don't know. I think he will just about edge James Ward-Prowse. I think Ward-Prowse would be in with a shout, especially with the amount of.
You actually did Bowen / Fulkrug for the assists, and you did Bowen for the top goal scorer.
Oh, I said Bowen for assist. I just actually had to look back on my thing because you've changed the order from which we did it. So I've got Bowen as my assist maker, but I still think Kudus will cause havoc. But I think Bowen because of set pieces. So I'm going to change my opinion.
Okay.
My pea-like brain was confused. It was just baffled by the change of order. But no, I do think Bowen or Fulkrug should. I think we should have a very creative team this season. So it's quite a tricky one to try and piece together. But
I'm surprised neither of you said Paqueta.
Well, I just think that he will be vital in playing through players and the likes of Bowen to get on the end of it and square it back. And I feel like he will be really influential in the most goals, but he won't register the most assists.
The pre-assist.
Yeah, I had him initially as that, but then that's exactly that pre-assist thing. The guy who makes the pass before the pass, you know. He could be making that all-important kind of swerve pass that plays someone in, and they just tap it over for someone to have a tap in. But it's going to be that pass beforehand, which Paqueta's going to lay on like the Bowen type one he did in the last game at the London Stadium. So I think we'll see a lot of that from Paqueta, but I think others will capitalize and get the merits because they'll get the assists, they'll get the goals over him.
Yeah, I'd probably just stick Bowen because of the set pieces. I think it's going to be close between Paqueta and Bowen. Those are the two picks that I had. So I think Bowen will edge it because he's more likely to play more games and he's on set pieces and he's less likely to get bookings, which we won't talk about. But yeah, cool. Those are our top assists. This video is sponsored by Emotive. Emotive provide cutting-edge digital services, solutions, and training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Emotive have worked with some fantastic brands in the past, as you can see behind me, the likes of Apple, Google, Tesco, and of course, Babylon Irons. Emotive offer 4 key services, the first being digital solutions, the second being professional training and coaching, the third being fractional experts, and the fourth being AI readiness. We're going to be working with Emotive on our channel to improve how we showcase the data to you guys in our breakdown videos and data analysis videos. If you want to find out more information about how Emotive can work with you, make sure to scan the QR code now, which will take you to emotivetouch.com, where you can find out more details about the company, and the link will be in the description. A massive thank you to Emotive once again for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Next one, there's 2 options I want from both of you, and it's surprise of the year for a good surprise and a bad surprise because yeah, we've made a lot of signings, we've made a lot of changes this summer, and there could still be more in the next couple of weeks, but Sloth, I want to start with you. Who's your good surprise of the year?
I think the good surprise of the year will be that I think Bowen will continue his form. I think he'll have another really strong season, but I think Paqueta will be back at the sort of level that I think he was a couple of seasons ago, and I think he'll continue that across the season. The sort of form that got Manchester City interested.
You also, I just want to put this out there. You did put Fulkrug for this one as well.
Yeah, I do think that he would be. I think a lot of people are quite down on the signing, so I think that he can easily get 14, 15 goals, and I think he'll quiet a few people down, ease a few nerves is the nicer way to put it, because I don't like the whole separation. If you thought it was going to be bad, and it's like, well, you don't really need to be. We're all West Ham fans, and let's be honest, we're all expecting the worst. So I think that I don't like to be like you complaining. So yeah, I think surprise the year. I think Paqueta will be good, because I know that sounds daft, but I think we'll see him really get back to that sort of top level form that he showed sporadically last season. And for the bad surprise, I just think Fabianski will be a year too long. I think, and that
is that a surprise?
I think he's a very good keeper, and I think people might be surprised at just kind of how much it's caught up with him. I think a few goals last season you could argue he was to blame for, and people were very kind about, and I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I just kind of think that maybe a few more this time.
Okay, Mike, what about you? Who's your good surprise and bad surprise?
For the sheer fact, I've been so down on him the entire time. I think the good surprise can be Wan-Bissaka, because I've set such a low bar that he puts in 2 crosses that we score from, and it's immediately he's like he's Cafu reincarnated. So I think he will be the surprise. I know I've been really down on him, been very critical, but that's because I feel that he creates an unbalance when it comes to attack. I understand other elements that he will support and will do well for us, especially in games where we really need to defend. He will be brilliant 1v1 and allowing Bowen to just kind of stay forward, and you essentially say you sit on Doku and that's it. You just leave him be, and that's kind of the action, the kind of way that you would work, right? Because in that counter-attack and transition process where you then put your winger high on that side and just attack that space, I think you're in very good and safe hands when you've got Wan-Bissaka there. It's the other element of the game at the other end where I have questions. But that being said, I think he will be a surprise because I think he will add that solidity to the defense in terms of a good one. And I think he will be continually put into positions where he's going to have to show a bit more about himself in that attacking third. And he probably also feels that he needs to prove a point to fans like me who've questioned his acumen in that third, but also, more importantly, a point to Manchester United and the fans that have arguably ridiculed him at times about his final third play. So I think that will be the pleasant surprise. I think the bad surprise will be this. They'll reinstate concession prices and then they'll bump up season tickets. That'll be the bad surprise in my mind.
Wouldn't even be a surprise, would it? But
And
yeah.
now we'll never get to work with a club in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Hey, owners change. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I would say good surprise of the year for me is going to be Guido Rodriguez. I think it's one of those signings that isn't the most, out there. He was obviously brought in on a free transfer, and he's not been the most, spoken about signing of the targets we've been linked to this summer. Kind of came out of nowhere. I think he's going to play a massive part. I don't think Alvarez can be back to consistently perform without injuries as well. So I think we'll actually see a lot of Guido Rodriguez this season. And yeah, I just think because of the age he's come in at, hasn't played in the Premier League before, was a free signing. I think people haven't really expected too much of that signing, but I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by the level of quality he actually brings to that midfield. In terms of bad surprise, bit controversial, but I would probably say Max Kilman. I don't mind the signing. I've not been massively on board with it. And I feel like people are overplaying how good he actually is because he's English and because he's played in the Premier League under Lopetegui before. But I think people might be surprised that he's not the defender that people are assuming him to be. But I may be wrong. So I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, I just think
diplomatically put.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the politician's answer, but effectively, I don't think Kilman's as good as people are making out. So I think that will be just the bad surprise of the year. But moving on, Hammer of the Year. It's a big accolade. It's not easy to win it. Last year, we had a few front runners, especially in the first half of the season. Even like the likes of Emerson was in the running. Who are we going to have for Hammer of the Year this season then?
I said Mo. I think he could just be explosive this season. He's far more settled in the team, far more settled in the league. As long as he's not playing left wing all season, I think if he plays left wing, then that might go. However, if he's able to play, across that kind of front line behind the striker, I think his explosive pace and just Mo being Mo is going to result in quite a hefty amount of goals and a hefty amount of assists. And I think we might find ourselves very happy with that front line. And I think he could be one of the main stars within it.
Sloth, do you agree?
I'm going to go with Fulkrug. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling that the fans will really take to him. And, I mentioned a couple
because he's a big German bastard and fans are just going to love that guy who's just going to be there just battering people.
I think he will really surprise people. He's not as slow as a lot of people make out. And, he will absolutely badger defenders and just make sure that he brings the best side of Antonio's game out and, linked up well with everyone like Antonio does. But I think his finishing is just another level entirely. So I think he will be really important. And I think his personality as well, I think it just really kind of lend itself well to West Ham.
I do agree with that as well. I think I'd probably edge it to Kudus as well. I think I agree with what you were saying, Mike. Second season now in the Premier League, playing in a more progressive team, hopefully in more progressive situations, a bit more centrally, where we'll see the best of him. And yeah, he looked really, really good towards the back end of last season as well. He was the standout player in pretty much every game. Chelsea away, even Man City away on the last game of the season, and he's kind of continued that into pre-season. Really, he looks really, really sharp. So I think he's going to be on it from the first game, and yeah, really excited to see what Kudus can do for us this season. So I think he's going to he's going to have a big year for us. Yeah, I think he'll just edge Hammer of the year as well. So in terms of league position, we've obviously got the league, FA Cup, League Cup. Let's start with the Premier League. A lot of competition. We've made a lot of signings. There's a lot of noise from other, outlets and not non-West Ham fans that, look how good West Ham's transfer window's been. They're surely going to be getting Europe. Where do you guys think we're going to finish this season in the Premier League under Julian Lopetegui?
You go first, Love.
I think I'll put a 6. I think that I'm going to go confident because as much as I like Dominic Solanke and I feel like we'd have had an absolute powerhouse of a season had he been leading the line, I think Spurs will Spurs it, and Richarlison will probably be awful. And I like him, he seems like a nice guy, so I kind of want him to do all right. But I just think that they seem to be in a very difficult place. I think Man United will be weird. I would not be surprised if Chelsea just absolutely tank this year.
Chelsea doing either absolutely tanking or they're absolutely smashing it. There's going to be no in between with Chelsea, as far as I can see.
I honestly also think that I wouldn't be surprised if the fans start really getting on their back, and I know quite a few older Chelsea fans who go and they are really disillusioned with the club. So I can see them falling away, and top 4 again being quite an open thing where Aston Villa will push it. I think maybe Newcastle and clubs like ourselves will be in the race for Europa, but I think that ultimately the sort of big teams will finish at that top level. I think Liverpool might surprise a few, and we will manage to somehow get some away wins at big grounds, unlike we did last season where we kind of rolled over. And I think we'll just sneak into the 6th spot and get Europa.
It's a huge shout if we do that. Mike, what you got us as?
I've gone 7th, but it's one of the ones that I toyed with because I could see us finishing from anywhere from 10th. If you're going to ultra optimistic, and if we was to sign maybe 1 or 2 players, you maybe go, well, maybe we could sneak into that 4th place. I don't. It sounds ridiculous, but when you also look at what others have, many pundits have talked about, there has also pundits also doing the same thing because it is so open now. Everyone is taking points that it's not necessarily as secure as it used to. I think 3 of those positions are pretty secure, regardless of whether they've not done much business or not. I think Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool are probably very secure in their places.
Yeah.
One, because stability of manager. I think Arne Slot is also a fantastic manager and has the ability to work with what he has if they don't get in the right players.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. He's that type of manager who can just churn out players and create players and make them great. Look at Wafer, for example, who's just gone to Brighton. He's a brilliant player, and what he did with him for playing the ball for like £500,000 or whatever it was. So there is, I think, anywhere from 4th down to about 10th is probably pretty open in the league at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any standout team necessarily within there.
Agreed.
I think we're looking at business alone, probably within that group. You'd say business alone, Aston Villa and West Ham have probably done the best business. Man United's makes sense. However, it's, again, trying to give Ten Hag his Ajax team, which could go one of 2 ways, because since that Ajax team has disbanded, none of those players have really stood up as the players they were looking to be when they were there. And even that includes even Freddie de Jong, who's a brilliant player, but hasn't maybe gone to the level people maybe expected him to go to. And that's what I kind of looked at with the rest of that team, like De Ligt and so on. So I think, United is just a weird bunch as well. So I think 7's a good shout for us because, again, like I say, Man United have just seemed weird with what could be going with them. Chelsea just either going to explode as a team or implode as a team. And then it's going to be a hard-fought battle with the others around us. And even, there's outside challenges when you think about with Wolves. Brighton's arguably going to be there again. And I think a couple of other teams who are just going to really quite push on as well. So it's, I don't think the Premier League's ever been as tough as this.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. where would I put us? I think I had us 9th. As you say, could be kind of anywhere. Hey, let me explain.
Say
I put us.
Frankie out. Frankie out.
Yeah, get at me, comments. Get at me. I think 9th is a solid first season for Lopetegui.
Right.
To be honest, I think we've got the players to finish a lot higher than 9th, but I think because it's a transition season, it would require a big effort to do it. But without Europe, it's definitely a massive bonus because the likes of Villa, they're going to be playing Champions League football. A couple of others that you mentioned, United, they'll be playing in Europa League, I think. Spurs as well. So they're going to have the Thursday, Sunday, or Wednesday, Saturday. We're not. So again, that's going to play into our advantage. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think our squad depth and quality of squad now is definitely, we can get into the top 7. I have no doubt that we can do it. I just think probably just fall short. But yeah, as you say, I think it's going to be very tight between, other than the top 3 or 4 positions. I think it's going to be really tight between sort of 5th and 10th, 11th, because the likes of, Crystal Palace look like they could be good this season. There are some really competitive teams in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But what about domestically for us, FA Cup and League Cup? What do you guys have for that? Let's start with the FA Cup.
I'm going to say, I think the semis should be a good aim for us. Like I say, the depth of team we've got now, we should be able to rotate to the point of we're actually, hopefully the team we put out as a second string would almost be to a level as our first team last year. Obviously, some slight deviations in terms of quality, but by and large, it will be on par with majority of our team throughout last year. So yeah, I'm going to say that if we can get a good draw, that's often the other thing is getting the good draw. How many times have we in the early stages managed to pull out like an Arsenal or Man U and so on? And if things go our way, I think a semi-final should be attainable for us. But I'd just love to see a nice draw for us over this season.
Yeah, no, I'd semi-final as well for the FA Cup. I think, a decent cup run in the second half of the season would be good. I've got a slightly different one for the League Cup, but yeah, what do you have, Slough, for the FA Cup?
I think I've put semi-final for both cups, actually.
Let me check.
I know I did. I think that should be our minimum aim. More than whether it's realistic, I think it's a minimum aim that we should be looking at.
I think, as you said, like, even when you look at the fact that we have Guilherme and we have Somerville potentially as like the second choice wingers to start those start cup games, and we can potentially have the starting 11 on the bench. Like, the rotation that we've got now is fantastic. And I think we'll be aiming for at least one cup run. I went ambitious and put both of them in the semis, but I think that we should be aiming for that. And I think, to be honest, West Ham fans I think Lopetegui probably will have been told, if you can get a good run in the cup, the fans will give you a big break. Even if you come like 10th, the fans will be really happy with the cup run.
Yeah.
And look, we all want to win something, but I think this season, because of the transition, I think it will be just as important for us to show that we want to win and show that there is a bit of progression on all fronts.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I had semi-finals for the FA Cup and League Cup. I had a slightly lower, like 4th or 5th round, I think. But because we come in, I think the draw's actually tonight when we're recording this. So yeah, we'll know who we've got in the second round before this video goes out. But yeah, coming in slightly earlier, I think the focus initially is going to be on settling into the Premier League. And I just think we'll get a tough draw, to be honest, in the Carabao Cup pretty early on. So yeah, those are our predictions for the season. Let us know in the comments how wrong we are and what your predictions are as well. Do a little prediction of each of the things we've gone through. And yeah, looking forward to the season. It's come around absolutely so fast, the Premier League. And yeah, we're ready to go. New signings, new adventure under Julian Lopetegui. And yeah, we'll all be there on Saturday, I'm sure, to watch the game against Aston Villa. So yeah, we'll be having our Aston Villa match preview coming out as well, probably tomorrow if you're watching this on Thursday. So yeah, make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our content throughout the season. And that's until the next one.
Come on, you Lions.